Well, for more, we can cross now to Bangkok and speak to Philip Sherwell, the Asia correspondent for the Sunday Times newspaper. Thank you so much for joining us. Perhaps we could start by just getting the latest on what's happening in Myanmar this Monday.
Yes, there are protests taking place in several towns in the country, but the protesters are also having to adapt their tactics. The vicious scale of the military crackdown has really meant that the huge numbers that we saw in some of the early protests in the early weeks, they've been forced off the streets in those sort of that sort of scale. But protesters are sort of staging brief gatherings in different towns, maybe for 15 minutes, then they'll sort of fade away before the military can strike. And they're also indulging in sort of more imaginative ways to get their message across. So at 5 p.m. tonight, people in major towns and cities were invited just to step out and clap. Now, that was a clap, though, that the message went round, was to support the ethnic groups that have, the ethnic insurgent groups along the borders of Myanmar, which over the weekend suggested that they would, or came out and said they were opposed to the coup and they would support the opposition movement. So it's become a bit cat and mouse, but the protesters are still there, the strikes are still taking place, and the opposition to the coup is still very widespread.
And we were hearing these reports that the junta is publishing wanted lists, wanted photos or posters in some of the state-run newspapers. And they seem to be targeting celebrities, various Burmese celebrities. What's the rationale for doing that?
Well, yeah, the junta is sort of desperate to try and win the social media war now. The messaging campaign, and these celebrities. They're actors, they're sort of models. Some of them are sort of social, very popular on social media, bloggers, vloggers. They have been promoting the civil disobedience movement. They've been urging people to support the parliament in exile that's been formed by MPs from Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy, who were overthrown in the February coup. And so the military at one stage, in one way has been trying to crack down on this by basically closing off a lot of internet access. But people are sort of finding ways around that. There's a lot less information coming out of Myanmar at the moment, it's true. But, these messages are still being relayed. And so now they're also going after the messengers. And the most high profile are these several of these individuals who've been their pictures have appeared on state television tonight. They were named in the newspapers today. They're all in hiding. I mean, everybody who is taking a high profile role against the military, as far as possible, is in hiding. They're in safe houses, or they've moved to some of these ethnic areas near the border. But nonetheless, the military is trying to up the ante and using its control of the law enforcement to go after them.
And just lastly, Philip, all the while, the economy of Myanmar must be under immense strain, not just because of the pandemic, but then, of course, there are sanctions targeting various individuals and various aspects of the economy. I'm just wondering what the state of the economy is right now.
It's dire. It's in free fall. It's collapsing. The World Bank recently estimated a 10% contraction. Everybody thought that was very conservative. A leading company that advises international investors has today said 20% this year alone contraction. Now, this is crucial actually to the battle for control, because it was faring badly because of the coronavirus. But really, the reason for this collapse is partly the sanctions, very important, that have been put on by Western powers on military conglomerates, but also there's the chaos domestically. Some borders are closed. It's just very difficult for business people to operate in the sort of circumstances you're seeing there. But also the civil disobedience movement, the strike movement, is aimed by the opposition to the junta, is aimed at making the country ungovernable. And they know that they're suffering a lot of economic pain themselves by going on strike. And this is civil servants, but it's also private business people, it's bank workers, it's railway workers, it's port workers. But they believe that the crucial to their battle to sort of defeat the military and to defeat the military's might in terms of arms and weapons and hardware is to bring the economy to its knees. So the military just won't be able to continue to function, won't be able to pay salaries, won't be able to rule the country. So very significant figures that we're seeing on the state of the economy there.
Okay, Philip Sherwell, the Asia correspondent for the Sunday Times newspaper. Thank you very much.